So welcome to Magdala. It's 25th of September, and we're welcoming you into the first century town of Magdala. In 2006, we bought the land, wanting to build a public sanctuary for the life of Christ. And in 2009, we started digging, and we discovered this first century town, where we found, behind me here, the first century synagogue. We found a marketplace, and we found the purification baths in 2 private villas. The synagogue is one of the only 7 first century synagogues in all of Israel that we found up until now, and it's the only first century synagogue here on this shore of the Sea of Galilee. The important things that we have in here are the mosaics, the frescoes, and the Magdala stone, which is in the center of the synagogue, and it's a stone that has sculptured on it the image of the second temple of Jerusalem, which was destroyed in the year 70. So it's the only remaining real image, entire image of the temple of Jerusalem. We found in the first century synagogue, where we are here, and along the road that we are going along the Via Maris and going up towards Damascus, so we're on the crossroads of Jewish and Christian history. This is a Jewish town, but it's also involved in the Christian history of Jesus Christ, who came through here. He walked here, he taught here. So the pilgrims have this experience of coming and walking where Jesus taught. This is also a place of peace and unity amongst all men. This is a crossroads of culture, of history, and we want this to be a place of peace and of unity for all religions, to avoid all divisions among people. What we have in the synagogue is the first room that we find here in the beginning is called the Bet Midrash, where the people would study the Torah. And the second room is where the synagogue itself, where there was the community meetings and community liturgy. And that's where Jesus would have been to discuss and to preach the good news, his gospel, about the kingdom of God. It's also where the first apostles would have started their first community, Christian community, where Mary from Magdala lived. So in the synagogue, we have a place in the first century where there's no division between men and women. And we have the city of Mary of Magdala. And we'll see later on the atrium of woman, where we want to promote, because of Mary of Magdala, the dignity of woman for healing and for reconciliation. So this is our synagogue. This is the archaeology. And we're welcoming pilgrims daily from 8 in the morning until 6 at night, all year round, to come and walk where Jesus walked and live this experience with us. Behind us here, there's the Mount Arbel and the Wadi Hammam. Wadi Hammam means Valley of the Doves, and it's a natural walking path of the Via Maris that would come from Nazareth and would come through here, through Magdala. Underneath the Duc and Altum Center that you see in the background, underneath that we found the first century road, which would go from Magdala, walking up to Capernaum, from Capernaum to the north of the Sea of Galilee, Bethsaida, and then from Bethsaida all the way up to Damascus. So we're on a route of commercial passage, and also of pilgrims and of people from around here for buying things in the marketplace, of meeting people. And it's in this area here, a little bit up the road where the multiplication of the bread was, up in Capernaum where Jesus lived his public life. We have the Mount of Beatitudes, which is only a few miles away. And we have this place here where for sure Jesus walked in and taught and preached his good news. Okay. Hi, I'm Father Timothy Meehan from the Legionaries of Christ. Now we are inside the women's atrium, underneath the cupola, around the 8 columns that surround us here, dedicated to the 7 times in the gospel that women are mentioned who follow Jesus. And the 8th column has no name on it. It's dedicated to all women of all time, for the great dignity that God has bestowed in them and the great works that he does through them. And around us we have the 4 mosaic chapels, the one dedicated to Mary of Magdala, the rising of the daughter of Jairus, the calling of the apostles in Capernaum, and the saving of Peter, who was drowning in the sea. And we have the woman here. We have the column dedicated to Mary of Magdala. To many other women, we have Mary of Cleopa, the mother-in-law of Peter, the mother of James and John, Martha and Mary, Susanna, and then the 8th column dedicated to all women. There's many other women. In the gospel it says, Mary from Magdala and many other women followed Jesus, helping them with their goods. And behind me, you see the boat chapel. The boat chapel is dedicated to the many times that Jesus preached on the sea, but above all, we hope that the visual effect reminds us of that gospel when it says Jesus was preaching along the shore of Galilee and there were so many people. He told Peter, let's get into the boat and go out just a little bit, and from there he preached to the people. So we have the boat is the altar, and then we have the pool and the Sea of Galilee from behind, which is very beautiful to come in and pray and worship and contemplate. Up around the cupola, we have this writing in Latin, which is from an encyclical letter of Pope John Paul II on the dignity of woman, which says, here in this holy place, we give thanks to the Holy Trinity for the mystery of each woman and all women, and the great dignity that God has given in them and the things that he's done through them throughout all of humanity. So we want this to be a very important place and a catalyst for world peace and for the promotion of the dignity of all women. So Magdala, little by little, has been coming out of the ground after 2,000 years, and it's provoking us in a positive way to be open to all people of all religions, because this is a crossroads where the Jewish and the Christian culture and history grew up together. We want this to be a place of peace, a place of unity, and a place of promotion for the dignity of women. So we're welcoming pilgrims, we're welcoming people of goodwill who want to come in here and have an experience of a first century town in a 21st century atmosphere. Down below us, we have the Encounter Chapel, which is made up of the stones from the first century road that went from Magdala up to Capernaum, and it's called the Encounter Chapel, where we'll find painting of the encounter of the hemorrhaging woman with Jesus, another encounter of another woman with Christ, and receives healing. So this message that we have in here, we want to be very strong and very profound, to know that prayer from Magdala goes out to the world, and that people from the world can come to Magdala and pray for peace, for unity, and for the dignity of women. We know about Mary Magdala, we have to purify sometimes a lot of our ideas about her, and just remember that in the gospel, we know 5 things about Mary from Magdala. We know that from Mary, 7 demons went out. We know that Mary from Magdala followed Jesus, helping him with her goods. We know that Mary was present at the cross. We know Mary was the first one to see Jesus risen from the dead. And we know that Mary is the apostle of the apostles. Jesus gave her the command, go and tell my brothers. She's the first one to receive a mission from the risen Jesus. These are the 5 things we know about Mary, which are very important because of the dignity of woman and the greatness in her position inside the church, in the mission of the church, in the mission of the gospel, and in the mission in the world. Women play a very big role. Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful time presenting Magdala to you. We welcome you here. We're open every day for you to come, and we're welcome to have you.